basketball fans, welcome back. So it's been a while since I've talked about the KBF League, and I saw this post by Basketball 254 on Facebook, and I just replied to it real quick. But in this video, I just want to just give some clarity on what I said. So when it comes to Kenyan basketball, different teams have different levels. There's levels when it comes to winning. So the first thing I want to say is this: we are seeing teams with unbeaten records. You're seeing teams just come out and dominate, and you're seeing teams you know just go out there and just play their best game. So when it comes to a basketball team, especially a team hailing from Kenya, of course they're all hailing from Kenya because we are all Kenyans, there's levels when it comes to winning. Take the example of the Nairobi City Thunder. So the Nairobi City Thunder, the way they had that aggressive power grab when they got in, they got acquired by Twende, the organization, and they just revamped their whole team and roster. The biggest test that they have right now is to make it to Road to Ball, because the league is a given they're going to go ahead and win it. But when it comes to them and their true test is what they're going to do, how they're going to perform when they go to Road to Ball. That is what is going to dictate like their level of success, not this success of just beating and just overmatching all these teams, because every single time they've played against a KBF team, they've just been blowing them out and beating them, and effortlessly they have done that for months now. So the biggest test right now is just to see, can they be able to replicate the same type of productivity in the game in Road to Ball, which is quite far away. They have to go there. That will mean if they're going to head to Road to Ball, that will mean that they have to win the KBF League, which is something that they have all the pieces to do. Because right now, as we speak, I feel like their roster is better, and even looking at the fact that the Thunder gave away 6 players to the national team, but they were still able to beat Umoja. So that's telling to how much depth they have and how many people that they have on the roster that they can use. So there's that. Then when it comes to like the KPA organization, when I look at the women's team, I don't want to talk about the men's team, because we have seen them time and time again fail in Road to Ball, despite the fact that they win. And they have gone to Road to Ball 3 times. They have made the Elite 16 twice. And in the last year's Road to Ball, they completely wet the bed, and I can even go to an extent and say that they embarrassed Kenya and they embarrassed themselves as a team and individually. And they showed that, and they reinforced the whole notion that Kenyan clubs are not as good as as the continent thought. So it's with regards to the men's team. But for the women's team, they have been overmatching every single team in the women's division. Even a while ago, I made a video talking about how the women's division is very weak, especially when it comes to basketball. The only 3 teams that run the women's league, you've got the KPA Dockers, the Equity Hawks, and the ZTEC Sparks, of whom are not the best teams, because if you look at what the KPA Dockers and the Equity Hawks did in last year's AWBL, which we covered extensively on this channel, you could see there was a clear difference, in our team's performance here in KBF and as compared to continental basketball. Because when it came to Zone 5, the teams in Zone 5 were not putting any resistance on KPA or the Equity Hawks, and that's the reason as to why KPA won it and the Equity Hawks finished number 3. But push came to shove when both teams managed to get to the Africa Women's Basketball League. I know the Equity Hawks made it through using a wild card, which I can say it was illegitimate because they didn't even finish. They got swept by the ZTEC Sparks. The only reason as to why they were there was because the ZTEC Sparks didn't even have the money in their budget, or the coach did not think that they might even make the finals. That's how low the expectations were. But anyway, the Equity Hawks just got outclassed in that whole thing, they can go ahead and the Equity Hawks can go ahead and blow out teams here in Kenya, but we all know where it ends. It ends when they meet another team that can be able to play basketball. But for the KPA Dockers, their true test is, can they be able to win the AWBL and beat A Sporting? So that's where the test is. The test is not just beating KBF teams, because they've just been on a tear. Both KPA and Equity, they've just been beating every single team in the women's division. But when it comes down to even head-to-head matchups here, you're seeing KPA take that matchup and they win it. But when it comes to playing outside and being a formidable force, that's where they fail, and that's their true test. So the Nairobi City Thunder, their true test is making it to the Elite 16 and finishing top 3 in the Elite 16. That's their biggest test. For the KPA women's team is to win the AWBL, not even KBF, because KBF is a given they're going to win it. And I must say, a championship with KPA, the women's team, is not as significant as a championship with the ZTEC Sparks, because the ZTEC Sparks we will celebrate that one more than the KPA Dockers winning, because you're used to KPA winning to the point where people have become desensitized and numb to it. So, and when it comes to the ZTEC Sparks, I know the ZTEC Sparks have 2 teams in the Division 1 and the Premier League. So hopefully they can be able to win it all, and they can be able to get over the hump of just beating a team like KPA, because they got really brutally outclassed in last year's finals. So that's how it is. You can see all these unbeaten records. You can see KPA having 10 games unbeaten, ZTEC Sparks, Nairobi City Thunder 13 games. But if you add some context to it, now that's when you understand. And also just a side note, the ZTEC Sparks, the Division 1 team, they have to win Division 1. They have to win it, so that they can at least show that they are able to be put in there in the Premier League. I'm not sure if they're going to get the Premier League, because ZTEC already have another team there, so I'm not sure how that's gonna pan out. But that's just my opinion. So if you guys like the video, make sure to leave feedback down in the comments on what you think about this. I know I've not made a lot of KBF, I don't know if I've said KBA, but KBF analysis and videos, but I will see if I can try to just be consistent on it alongside all the BAL and NBA content that is coming along the way. So yeah, man, I'm out. If you're following me on Instagram, please be sure you hit the follow button on top. If you're watching this on YouTube, make sure to hit the subscribe button and hit the bell so that you get notified on every video. So I'm out. Peace.